What's up, everybody? We're outside with Scott Marceau, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about his new video, Angles. Go ahead, Scott.
So Angles is a video. It's a BMX video. I worked on it for a number of years. I started taking it seriously around 2017. The beginning of 2017 is when I went on the first trip filming. I filmed a lot of it in 2018 and 19, and I wanted it to come out in the spring of 2020, but with everything that was going on, there was no way I could have a proper premiere event, which was really important to me. So I edited for about a year, honestly, a lot of editing, and it finally came out. The world premiere was July 10th, 2021.
So, would you consider that somewhat like a blessing in disguise? The downtime gave you time to focus on the edit, tune everything, tweak.
Yeah, a blessing in disguise is one way to say it. The way I work is I'll always work right up to the deadline, no matter how much time I give myself and no matter how much work I've already put in. I'll always just keep working and working and working until finally I don't have any more time to work. But it was, in the end, I'd say it's good. I really got to dial everything in. I'm super happy with all the cuts, the transitions, the soundtrack. Yeah, I'd say it was more good than bad.
Speaking of soundtrack, because a lot of people say that's one of probably the hardest thing about the editing process, finding music that fits in with not only the writing, obviously the writing, the writer's style, but your video was more, each section had other people in it, more of a little bit of a mix, and finding something that worked well with all of that. How did you come about deciding and picking the music for that? Was it just random, random playlists, just random music? Did you have anything in mind beforehand?
There's one song I've been sitting on for up to 10 years. I think right around 10 years. I wanted to use it in a project, but it wasn't going to fit in that project. So I've been sitting on it since 2011, probably. Other songs I sort of found more recently. But I've been building a library of songs I'd like to edit to for a long time. Music is really important to what I do. I love to listen and to understand and to dissect the music so that I can more closely match the footage to it. I think that the more you understand the soundtrack, the better editing job you can do as far as matching, like, say there's like a long bridge or a guitar solo of some sort, you're going to want to match that with like a longer clip, say like a line or a long grind or something,
yeah, sure.
a long manual or something, and then the quicker, like grungier parts, heavier, you want the back-to-back-to-back rail clips or whatever,
Sure, yeah, you want to build up too, obviously.
Yeah, there's a structure. As much as there's a structure to the footage visually, there's a structure to the song sonically, and so you want to be able to match the two to make it really work.
What was your original inspiration to get involved in this project and want to make a DVD?
It was after I finished the OSS on Everything video, which never came out to a hard copy. It remains a series of web videos that came out all in 1 week. That was the first week of April 2016. I had a lot of downtime after that, between that April and it was at Nora Cup that year, which was like October. That whole time I was like almost done. I thought I was done with riding, and I thought I was gonna move on from riding and do something more commercial. But I went to Interbike, and at the Nora Cup I had such a great time, and it was so inspiring to see everyone there excited about certain project. I think that was the year that Nathan won 3 awards. He won Street Rider, he won Video Part, and then he was in Video of the Year as well.
Yeah.
And Stephen Hamilton was there announcing the winner. Oh wait, no, okay. So I'm getting the timeline mixed up.
Because that was when they were in Texas, right? That last Nora Cup. I mean, that Nora Cup was.
No, the one I'm talking about was in Vegas.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, the one where Stephen Hamilton announced Simone as Street Rider was.
Yeah, Texas Toast. Right?
Yeah. So that was, whoa. That was
right?
2014, or unless
Our timelines, maybe my timeline.
my
is a little
time.
more-
No, dude. The older I get, the less I can remember time frames.
Yeah,
but
we gotta keep a diary, right? And
I'm sure if I went back, I got photos. But it was a Nora Cup event that made me think, I'm still sitting on a lot of footage. There were a lot of sections, not a lot, but there was like a mixed section and then like another rider section that was supposed to come out with that On Some Shit project, but it never came together. So I was sitting on a lot of Brandon Began footage. The Dylan Stark footage that I have in Angles was supposed to be in that project, like some Caleb Quanbeck clip. I had enough footage to start a new project, and so that event made me decide, like, hey, I want to do something on my own. There's no corporate sponsor, there's no endorsement, there's no higher up telling me what to do, what not to do. So it was really something I wanted to make for myself and keep myself interested and dedicated to BMX, because that's really what I've grown up on, and I wanted to keep doing it.
It was a good way, having the footage already, would you say was a good like momentum, keep the momentum
Oh yeah,
going?
big time. I mean, Began already had like 5 or 6 great clips, like Began and I never stopped filming. Even after the OSS video, we'd still ride together. He lived real close by, and we'd still pedal around and film. We weren't sure what we were filming for yet, but we kept getting footage. And then Matt Gutierrez, Matt G Dark Chocolate, he was one of the first riders that I wanted to have heavily involved, and so he went on a lot of the first trips, and things started coming together. He has such a unique style. I was already hyped on the selection, like the variety that we could have just with him, and it kind of just went from there. There was Dustin Arp is in Denver, and he
Yeah, he killed it, by the way.
Yeah, definitely,
Excellent
man.
section.
He went in. He dedicated so much of his blood, sweat, and tears to that section, and it shows for sure. I mean, I could tell that he was motivated, and we're near the same age, so we understand each other's struggles as far as riding and filming and staying healthy goes, and I really love his trick selection. And he had just finished his Duts Comp video too. And so he could, after that video was done and out, he could dedicate all of his time to Angles, and it really helped out. It helped me on both sides of the camera to get me to keep filming and being hyped on filming and editing, and also to ride myself and staying healthy.
So that was a plus. You pretty much motivated each other, right?
Yeah, you could say we definitely fed off each other, because there were times where I'd see something I like to ride, and he'd be there to either film or at least to motivate me to do it, to talk me up, or to even just like shit talk me till I went for it. There were a few of those moments, but he was definitely a really good momentum to have around, because he kept it going.
Okay. So it was from 2016 you started originally, right? So in all that time, two-part question. Originally, did you have people in mind that you wanted to be in it from the start? And towards the end of the project, did that original cast stay in? Were they involved throughout, or did they film a few things then fade it off?
Yeah. So definitely, like I said, Matt Gutierrez. I wanted to have a full section, but he kind of got into other things. He's really pursuing his art career at this point, and he stopped riding as much, or rather, we stopped going out as much. But he had a really good selection of clips to work with, but he didn't end up having his own song. He did get the last like minute and a half of one of the mixes, which I love that song. It's not like a more stacked mix. There's probably like 7 or 8 riders total in that whole song. It's a longer song, so he gets his shine, but in the beginning I wanted him to have a standout section of his own. Began, like I said, he was one of the first to start stacking clips, and he has the first section in the video, so that worked out pretty well. Justin Shorty, he's so easy to film with. He's so talented. He can ride anything. He loves riding anything. He just loves to ride. And I knew that he'd end up having a section. We've put out one solo promo of his own in January. That was about 4 minutes long, 2 songs. The DVD section, and then he has another section of his own coming out in the promo in the next week.
Okay.
So
yeah.
he's just got tons and tons of footage.
Yeah, his ender was sick. It's a clip that a lot of people,
Yeah.
I'm sure people dreamed of doing. Well, in that situation, it's like, yo, you got right now,
Dude,
go.
and it's the funniest. I gotta tell this story. So without giving away the clip too much, we're up at the top of the stairs. He's okay, mind you, he's on a flat. He's got a slow leak. His tire's low. If you see in the clip when he goes to hop, he compresses like in his tires bulging out. But there's 2 security guards at the bottom of the right side rail. And I'm like, come on, please, just move. We're pleading. Just last try. We'll head out. You'll never see us again. All that. And Justin says, you know what, Scott? I'm going to try the other side. And I look at him like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, we're doing the right side. He's like, no, Scott, come over here. I'm going to do the left side one.
Got to improvise,
And I looked at him in his eyes, and he gave me like this kind of like nod and a wink type thing. I was like, oh, okay, word. So I move over to the left side rail. He kind of does like a fake run up to the left side rail. Both security guards shift to the left side rail, and then he pulls a U-turn. I jump over back to the right side. He comes around. Boom. He goes down, threads the security. Right, dude. He could not have come any closer to threading that security guard.
It was like, oh my God. What was that? Somebody's tire blew up?
It sounded like a tire. It's a loud ass tire.
All right, so yeah, we're.
But that security guard, she had to stop she literally stopped from getting hit. And it worked out so well. The excitement, the celebration after that clip was so live. Like,
that was a sick clip.
I haven't put out the footage yet, but I was screaming like a fucking schoolgirl, dude.
Where was that? Location wise, was that in LA?
Yeah.
Denver?
That was up in the valley of LA. Justin Shorty's born and raised Los Angeles, and he's spent a lot of his life in the valley, which is just like sort of a less visited area above the Hollywood Hills. And he has it on lock. Every time I'd go up there to either pick him up, drop him off, hit a spot, we'd be driving past, oh, I used to ride this thing over here, and it ended up being like the sickest shit ever.
Yeah,
like it just like doesn't like register in his head to like show me some stuff he used to ride. Yeah, like almost every week he'd be like, oh, there's this over here, and he'd say so nonchalantly, and we'd show up and like, yo, like this is sick.
Yeah,
like
a
how have
sick
you never
setup.
said this?
Yeah. So that was in LA. Where did this video in your travels? Where did you end up?
Wow. Okay,
going?
so
How many cities or states?
Yeah, the first trip was, it started in LA. Matt Gutierrez and Ryan Pipkin, who are both based in Albuquerque.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get a shot of her for like a behind the scenes or something. So they flew in from Albuquerque, and we drove from LA through Phoenix, through Albuquerque. Pipkin stayed in Albuquerque, and then Matt and I drove to Texas. Texas was a visit, I think 3 times, at least 2, but like smaller cities in Texas, Lubbock, Abilene, Sweetwater, and then like College Station, Austin, Wichita Falls. I went to Texas 3 times, twice with Matt, and then once with Alex, and we covered a lot of ground. It's such a big ass state, so a good, a considerable amount of footage is from Texas.
A lot of mileage too, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's another story. The second trip, I think, was up the California coast, through the Bay, through Portland, through Seattle, up to Vancouver.
Okay.
We spent like 5 or 6 days in Vancouver. That was during the lunar eclipse. I think everyone kind of remembers the solar eclipse. Sorry, the solar eclipse.
Red moon, blood moon, or something like that.
No, it was in the middle of the day. You guys probably didn't.
Oh,
do you remember
the glasses?
Yeah,
people were like, yeah, I remember that.
Early August 17,
yeah,
I think,
17,
maybe 8. No, yeah, 17. So that we were in Vancouver for that. Alex had broken his wrist on the way up in Eugene, Oregon, so he was washed for the trip, unfortunately. Although we were filming for his video too. I'm having a section in his video, so he could at least do something productive.
Multitasking pretty much. Right?
Yeah,
Can't ride, might as well.
Yeah, he can roll with the punches, man. He kept a good heart and a steady head even through breaking his wrist on literally the second day of the trip. It was so unfortunate, but
no, it happens.
And then from there, after that trip, we came back through to like Salt Lake, back to Albuquerque, and then back to LA. And then two summers in a row, I did LA to Denver, and then like Denver to either St. Louis, Chicago, or Denver straight to Ohio, where my family's at, where I'm born and raised.
Okay.
And then from Ohio, I'd make it out here to New York, Baltimore, Philly. I saw my dad in North Carolina. It was the summer of 18. I did like the grand trip, you know.
Yeah. The must-do places, right? See mom, see dad.
Yeah, I really I covered all the bases, and it felt really good. And by the time I got home, I was just exhausted, and I was ready to not travel again. You know, it took a few months to even like drive out of LA again. You know, the thought of travel after some of those trips made me kind of anxious. You know.
Were the trips more spur of the moment? Like, hey, I'm gonna go out 2 weeks. I'm gonna go to Phoenix. And did you just send out an SOS, whoever wanted to be down, or were they a little more organized?
Yeah. So what really helped is when I announced the production of Angles, it was just a simple Instagram post and a YouTube video. It was like a 2-minute, minute and a half promo saying like, hey, this is my project. This is the vibe. This is the motivation, and I want to go to these places. And a good handful of people hit me up like, hey, if you come here, you got a place to stay. Like, hey, I got a floor, I got a couch. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they wanted to get involved.
It was really awesome. My dude BZ, shout out BZ in Iowa. He let us crash on 2 different trips coming through the Midwest because he stays like just west of Chicago where Alex DeLiva stays. And so anytime I was with Alex going to drop him off from a trip, we'd stop in Iowa and stay with BZ, and he was super helpful, super cool guy. So that was a really good homie to have in your corner and a good floor to sleep on.
Yeah, let that be a lesson to anybody out there.
Yeah.
Reach out to your filmer and just get involved. Be like,
Network.
Hey man, I want to do something. Get the ball rolling.
Don't be an asshole. Keep an open mind. Be thankful and grateful, and just meet people. Be nice, and people will be nice in return. That's kind of just how it works. I feel like that doesn't have to be said right here, but that's the golden rule. I'm not a religious person. I know it's a church thing, but treat others the way you want to be treated. It's a karma thing. You put out good energy, good vibes, they'll come right back.
Yeah, that applies to everything in life, kids. Not just riding bikes. That applies to your job, your fucking school, everything.
Family.
All that shit. Family. Don't be a jerk off. All right. Let's get a little bit before Angles, right? Projects that you had worked on before, maybe like your first project.
So it's funny because the first full-length video I ever finished was exactly 20 years ago from now. It was my middle school video with my middle school crew, CFDK, the Chagrin Falls Dirty Kids, Northeast Ohio. It was pretty much inspired by Jackass, the show, and then like random skateboard and BMX videos.
Oh yeah, back then everything was, I'm pretty sure a lot of things were Jackass influenced. Shopping carts.
Oh man.
Down hills.
Bowling balls.
Yeah.
Dollar bill pranks. It was just all silly shit. You know, we got hurt doing dumb shit. Yeah. We got hurt riding. We got in trouble with the cops. It was like 60% serious motivation for riding, and then the rest was just doing funny shit around town, getting in trouble, and pissing people off. But that video was over an hour. It was actually an hour and 30 seconds long, and I made 20 VHS tapes of it, and I finished that in 2001. And then the next project after that was my high school video, which was with my company Love Hate Clothing, and that was more of a serious riding video. So the CFTK video, the first one had BMX, it had a couple skateboard parts, and it actually had a rollerblading part. My homie Phil, he was the rollerblader, and he had his own song. So that was
the crew. So if you rollerbladed, I'm filming you, you're getting in. If
you're in the crew.
If you scootered, if scootering was around back then.
Yo, yeah, there were some scooter clips. You just didn't know any. You didn't care, or you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
These are my friends. This is what they do. They're in.
Yeah.
You know, the Love Hate video was more concentrated. There were 2 or 3 skateboard parts, no scooters, no rollerblading, and then the rest was riding. And I watched that video a few weeks ago when I was packing up the DVDs for Angles, and I still like it. You know, the soundtrack is funny. It's very of the time. The editing is like sufficient. You know, it's not horrible.
Cringe? Did you cringe at any?
Yeah, not too many cringe. Watching the middle school video was kind of cringeworthy, but I kept it pretty like clean for the Love Hate video, and some of the writing's pretty good still. I love watching it just for nostalgia. You know. Yeah. After that, there were a few projects I worked on. There was I edited Still Here, which was a crew video out of Ohio, and I only got brought on as the editor. I wasn't even involved with the filming.
Okay. They just handed you the...
Pretty much I got a fucking big ass plastic baggie full of mini DV tapes, started capturing, and then I really didn't even have like my own direction for editing.
Yeah.
I sort of just got directed by the guys to put this here, use this song. Like, all right, I'll do that.
Looking back, was it anything that you could compare it to back then? Maybe like a props, or maybe...
It was definitely not props-esque. It was...
this would have been 2001, you said, right?
Oh no! Oh, the CFDK video.
Yeah. No, the one that you were just editing.
The one I was just editing. This was 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the end of 2010. I was editing Still Here, and that was a point in my life where I was at the bottom. Okay. I had reached the bottom. This is another story for another day, but like I was drained of creativity. I was drained of motivation. It was a really, really messed up. I was on a broken ankle. I was on crutches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just horrible.
Yeah.
It was all bad, and I was sort of on autopilot, just like clicking, dragging, exporting. I didn't really...
No real thought, just...
Exactly. And I had a guy over my shoulder telling me, like, put this here, use this song. It's like, okay. So I did that. That video came out, and then for that next crew video, I was more involved with the filming and the trips, and I did a lot of the Super 8 filming, but the principal filmer was not me. I even got a riding section in that video.
Was that Act Like You Know?
That was No Days Off.
No Days Off, yeah.
That came out in 2014, yeah. I'm very proud of the editing of that video, and I watched it semi-recently, and there were like interludes between the sections that could have been condensed.
Yeah, like the bales and whatnot, and
there's like little like
street happenings.
Exactly, yeah, interactions with the locals. They kind of dragged on a bit. I wanted it to be a thing. I wanted it to like be like a noticeable interlude between the sections, but also like keep it continuous. But I think that it was a little too much. So looking at it now, but at least people can just sort of skip to the next part. But overall, I really gained a lot of perspective using the music that I use in there. So not all of it was my choice. There were a few songs that I picked out. There were a few songs that were handed to me. And then there was actually one or two songs that the writer chose, which worked out really well. Okay. But I really honed in my editing with that video. I really paid a lot more attention to the music, and I linked it up to because I could be there for the filming too.
Yeah.
I really had a better understanding of like what could go where, and then I had an input on like if it should be filmed long or fish. We had two cameras, so I could help out with a second angle or a tripod shot, And then that really set me up for the solo project, the On Some Shit on Everything.
Okay.
Those came out in 2016. That's the reason I moved out to Los Angeles. I got invited to make that video, to be more of like a team manager type filmer, editor, driver, spot scout,
the whole package.
Yeah, and I was really, I had a good time, and I had a hard time, and I had difficulties. I went through the whole spectrum making that video, but it really, it made me stronger. It made me more understanding, and it helped me move to the next project,
Okay.
And from there, I did a lot of one-off like web videos. I did some like product promos. I was working with like Dylan Lloyd. I did another video for Brandon Began. I did one for Vicente, this Spanish dude. I had a lot of fun editing that video with the music. It was a really funny story, but it really, like, with every video I made, it got better and better, which is like something I needed to see for myself.
Yeah, you want to see like some progression.
You definitely want to be making less mistakes. Making less mistakes is a key principle that I keep with me at all times when I'm going into a project, in the middle of a project, at the end of a project. Am I making less mistakes? Mm-hmm. I want to be more focused. I want to be more critical. I want to be just progressive and creative, you know what I mean? And it all comes down to just taking time to hone in your craft and understand the materials you're working with, the footage, the music, the software. And as long as you understand what you're working with, the tools, you can really make something great. But you just got to put in the time. That's really what it comes down to. It's putting in the time.
To touch upon that point, you said the tools. It's like, you're a carpenter, right? You gotta, or you want to build something. You want to put up a wall. You have a hammer and you're fucking hitting the nail with the claw. It's like, all right, I need to understand this.
Yes.
I need to hit it with the head. I need to understand how this works. And that way, everything, you understand the tool. It makes the job easier.
Big
obviously.
time.
You're gonna do the job right.
Yep.
So that applies also, filmers, photographers. Learn your camera, learn your settings, learn your software.
Yep.
Just do whatever. Just film random things, go on the computer, tweak it.
Trial and error is such an easy tool to use because with digital, when I got into photography, I wasted so much money on film developing because I had no idea. Well, I had very little idea what I was doing at first. But with the advent of digital photography and digital imaging, there's no excuse to not make a greater image every time because you can literally shoot and look, adjust, shoot, look, adjust, shoot, and there's no money wasted. There's very little time wasted. But for video, it's like getting to know your camera, like the chroma settings, the white balance, the shutter speed, the iris. There's so many things you can do to come out with a really good looking final image. And the best tip I can give right here on the spot is keep neutral color profiles. You want in camera, you want a very flat picture. You want to have if there's like a contrast setting 0 or like a -4 setting, like I use the HMC 150.
Panasonic,
which I don't highly recommend. It's a little bulky. There's smaller Panasonic HDV cameras. I think it's like I always get the name mixed up, AG90 or AG130. It's
smaller form factor, but same.
Exactly. Say the HMC 150 is the HD bigger brother of the VX2000. The AG90 or 130, whatever it is the HD bigger brother version of the TRV 900.
Okay.
Easier to fit in a bag, a little less stable because it's lighter, but the bulkiness of the HMC is a definite turn off for me. But that's what I used, and I also used a Canon 60D DSLR
for fisheye.
With a shitty like 8mm Rokinon fisheye. It got the job done, and it looks to the undiscerning eye, it looks great. You know what I mean? I had to sharpen up a few of the clips. Like when you shoot wide open on those eBay fisheyes,
a little soft.
It's soft, so a little bit of digital sharpening goes a long way with those.
Okay,
that's another tip.
We can swing back to that one later.
Yeah.
You mentioned after No Days Off, you went to work. I guess it would be full time for OSS, right?
Yeah.
Team manager, spot finder, filmer. So that was pretty much 7 days a week. That was your main.
More or less. I could go off of when the guys wanted to ride, but with those, like a lot of those guys were super motivated. Some of them weren't, but more or less it was no days off for that. You know what I'm saying? It was. We had the van. We had all of Los Angeles at our disposal. Anywhere in Southern California, we did a couple trips, not too many. But even something as simple as pedaling around downtown or Skid Row, whatever, it was definitely the first video project that I was fully in charge of, like the day-to-day operations. I couldn't have final say in the music. Like OSS is a very specific image, and some of the songs I wanted to use were too soft, you could say. So I had a good time working with the music that was chosen for me. There was like Maxo Cream. Okay. There was like some English grime rap. Yeah.
One of those, the song was a little like...
This was 2015, 2016. SoundCloud rap was huge, you know. I was about to use Post Malone for Stevie Churchill.
Really?
And I actually have a draft I just watched the other day. It was like 2.5 minutes of... what was that song? White Iverson.
Yeah.
I started balling. I liked that a lot. Like, and it worked well. But as we kept filming and editing, Post Malone just blew up. Yeah. And we thought there's no way we'd be able to use this anymore. And then for Dylan Lloyd, we used Suicide Boys, which they're still kind of hot on the scene, but they were like at the forefront of the SoundCloud rap wave, you know. But I got to know, like I said, it's just getting to know the music, you know. If I couldn't choose the music, I'd choose the editing style because, you know, I mean, there's a couple different styles of editing you can choose, but I choose to incorporate a B-roll, slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
You can have transitions or not. You can have quick cuts or not. You can have multiple angles or not. And so I really just played off the music. Like say, so Caleb Quanbeck wrote to Turnstile for that project, which is hardcore, post-hardcore. And that was quick cuts. That was a lot of fisheye. Not too many second angles or tripod shots. It was quick. It was a shorter song. And then say for Dylan Lloyd, the beginning of the song is super slow. It's got like a droning female singing voice, and then even there's interludes of the song that are slow, and like I use a lot of slower cuts, some crossfade transitions. But yeah, it's just getting to know the music, and once you understand the music, you can more specifically edit the video.
And you're filming too, obviously.
So as soon as I knew the music, I started filming things differently. Like I said, if I was editing to Turnstile, I was getting fisheye, I was getting close, I was getting more extreme with the cuts, and then something slower, more drawn out, it was more long lens, wider shots, atmospheric stuff.
So this was something, when you were working for that project, you were just gathering footage, and then the music came along, they were like, we want to use these songs, and then from there, you made your adjustments.
You could cater to... It was more towards the last couple months of filming. We didn't know exactly from the get-go what we'd be using. Like I wanted, Alex Donachie ended up riding to Kodak Black, and at first I wanted to ride to this like soft indie pop band from like Philly or something, but he's such a versatile rider and such a talented rider that he can be filmed anyway and it looks good. I sort of just got as much of him as I could. He only came into town like 3 times for that whole project, but he still got like the second most amount of footage.
Oh yeah, that guy's like a machine.
Literally, like on an average day, he'd get 3 great clips. On a great day, he'd get 6 clips, and on a bad day, he'd get 2. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's still crazy.
Yeah, incredible rider, great guy to work with, and he makes videos too, so he understands like, can I get this lead-in shot? Can you do that again? You know, like. Yeah, and that's the worst. I'll say one thing. I don't do lead-in shots. I know a lot. Like it's a thing, and I have nothing against it. There's a horror story out there. I'm not gonna share it right now. But like someone got real hurt on a lead-in shot. Hey, like you did this gap 3. Like, can I get you just pedaling at it real quick? And you set up your artistic long lens shot. Rider puts on their good looking like serious face. It's a little more scripted. And it's just not. I try to get as much footage like on the spot as I can. Like it's not written, it's not scripted, but I don't do the lead-in shot. 95% of the time I don't do the lead-in shot.
Yeah, but personally I feel it's way overdone. Me, I'm a little guilty of it. I'll always film it just if I have a gap.
Yeah.
To fill in.
Yep.
You never know. Something might come up short. A second and a half. 3 seconds is a long time. It's a long fucking time.
Yeah, that's 90 frames of video.
And you might have a gap where like you stretch out the previous clip as far as you can. The clip before, you started as soon as you can. You still have. So sometimes you're forced into it. Yeah. Or a B-roll shot, but for the sake of the flow, you'll use a setup shot. So.
That's definitely something everyone should keep in mind. You can go with the saying. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. When I'm out filming, like I'll just film like people walking by or like interactions of the rider with locals or just like a plane going across the sky, like something to have to fill in that 3 seconds if there's just like a weird gap. So yeah, film more than you think you'll need, but I'm guilty of really overdoing it. I captured so much footage for Angles and there's still so much sitting on my hard drive. I alluded to the fact that there'll be a long promo coming out again. I wanted to have it out before this East Coast premiere. I wanted to show it at this East Coast premiere, but I didn't have it done. I didn't want to rush it. So in the next 2 weeks from now, I don't know when this will come out. It might be out by this time, but
this might take a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know how it takes to take time. So there's another about 35 minute promo that'll come out with all the final leftover clips.
That should definitely get people motivated to buy.
Or at least I'll announce the digital download. I'm still figuring out the logistics there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is there anything you take like motivational wise or influence wise, other filmers, other videos you've seen?
Yes.
Things that you take to blend and make your own style. Like what are your influences?
Early on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Early on in my video editing career, I was really inspired by Alien Workshop skateboard company.
Okay.
Joe Castrucci, who's an Ohioan, which I'm very proud of. He's the brand manager. He really sets the image of the company, the branding, and the video editing was always so clean and on point, and he really did a good job of working with the music and understanding it. And they always had like cool little segue shots of like figurines dancing around,
that
or
was
like
Minefield.
Minefield,
right?
yeah. Minefield really Minefield was given to me as inspiration for Still Here when I was editing that, and we didn't have the source footage to do all the cool interludes, all like that, the painting stuff and the motion graphics, but I kept it in mind. And then moving on from there, I just like I kept referencing back to just like the cool little segue shots, the interludes, the mixed media, Super 8 film, 16 millimeter film. Editing is a lot of editors I like. I really like the editing of Tony Maloof. I like Vish's editing. I like Bobby Canode's editing.
Yeah.
Rich Forn. I mean, they understand their footage, and they listen to their music, or lack thereof in some cases. They understand the flow, they understand the vibe, they have an end goal in mind, or at least it seems the whole time, and they make sure that with every cut they're working towards that goal. They're just focused, and they're dedicated to their craft, and it shows, and those guys are definitely editors I look up to. Filmers I'm less discerning about. As long as it's not filmed bad, then I'm cool with it, you know.
Okay.
I don't consider myself a good filmer. I consider myself a competent filmer.
Yeah.
My long lens is stronger than my fisheye. I head chop often. I'm very conservative. I stay further away with the fisheye. I move the camera as little as possible. That's pretty much my MO.
Yeah.
But by no means do I consider myself a good filmer, or a great filmer rather. But I pride myself on my editing, and a lot of people say they'd rather be out filming and they wouldn't want to sit down and edit.
Yeah.
I can say I'm the opposite of that, where
you would rather somebody, hey Scott, here's the hard drive.
Yeah.
You know, put this together.
Yeah, I 100%. If I was given the option to be filmer or editor in a project, I would take editing.
Okay.
In the field, I like to be out, moving around. It hurts me to see the filmer sit in the same spot for 3-4 hours sometimes.
Yeah, long days sometimes.
Like, yo, can I get you anything, man? Like, I feel for you right now. Like, do you need a meal?
You're one of the most considerate ones. Other people, I'm like, yo, I'm dying. Can you bring me a fucking...
Just go get me a water, dude,
anything.
please.
Just throw water on me, something. I'm about to pass out over here.
I mean, I understand the struggle, and I don't envy the dedicated filmers much at all. You know, I respect them, and everyone needs, any rider out there, you need to respect your filmer. I've tried to introduce the Filmers Appreciation Day, where the rider has to carry the bag around.
Yeah.
They got to pick out the spots. They got to drive. They got to do all the work that the filmers got to do.
That's mandatory. I'm gonna implement that. One session a month.
The best filmers work hard. It's not easy to be a great filmer or editor, and you got to put in the time. You got to put in the energy, and it shows. With the most dedicated, it shows, and it's just there. Like you watch a video, you can tell someone loved this project. Someone dedicated a lot of their time to it. It's great to see. Is
it something? Because you touched earlier upon being like somewhat burnt out on bike riding and I don't want to say the lifestyle, but the bike riding lifestyle.
Yes.
Was that a factor? Like heavy filming, photography, and what? We said you were injured too.
No, man, I was actually pretty healthy at the point where I thought I was done. Right after On Everything. I was feeling a bit more domesticated. I was doing a lot of work outside of BMX, and I thought, you know what, maybe, like, I was about to turn 30. I was like, you know what, maybe this is it for me. It was really hard. Like I said, working with OSS, it was very difficult at times to get the motivation to get some of the riders to want to even go out and ride.
Yeah.
Which sounds so antithetical, like a paid rider not wanting to ride.
That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your job.
Yeah,
like, to go out and produce somewhat. You know, I'm not asking you to go out every single day, but
it's not on me. There's companies paying you to make footage, and you're sleeping till 2 in the afternoon, 3. You know, okay, without getting too specific here.
No, I know. You know, anybody out there that has somewhat, you right, you know the deal. Like, people that slack. It's you know.
And I understand going through rough phases, like hitting bottom, you know, lack of motivation. Everyone goes through troubles, you know, it shouldn't last for months. Like, if you're feeling down and unmotivated for months, there's something you need to change. There's diet, there's exercise, there's giving up drugs, there's meeting the right people, hanging out. It's
even your immediate circle.
Oh, big time, dude. The older I get, the more I realize you are your friends. You are the people you surround yourself with. As much as you are what you eat, you are the people you surround yourself with. And if you find your friends being unmotivated, unhealthy, toxic, you need that distance.
It's gonna rub off on you.
Yeah, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but sometimes you just gotta make distance between you and some of your best friends, which is really unfortunate. But man, like, I've had to burn bridges. I had to cut ties with a lot of people who weren't helping me become the best person I could be. And as soon as I made that distance, I had a lot of breathing room, and I got to know myself better. And what was the question? Sorry, it was after On Everything. I was feeling burnt out, and I wasn't riding as much. I myself got 3 clips the year of 2016.
The entire year.
The entire year. Yeah. I was still filming the guys, and I was working on some projects here or there, but I myself as a rider got 3 clips that year. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it's a little, because you figure you're actually out all the time.
All the time.
But except you're filming.
You're sitting down, you're behind the camera.
You're looking for spots. You ride, you might get, you know, just a little warm up here and there, loosen the legs up, but then you're in work mode. You got the camera, you're filming. You're doing everything except the actual act of riding.
And the act of riding is what got me hyped in the first place to be involved in the whole scene, you know. And so I can probably draw a direct correlation between my lack of actual riding and my interest in the whole idea of BMX. You know, like, I wasn't landing tricks, I wasn't learning new things, I wasn't getting hyped to scare myself, you know, and I just kind of lost the adrenaline rush, and I lost the drive to, like, be excited again, you know.
That's a key factor. If you're just out, if you're just riding just to, I'm going out, people grind, double peg, blah blah, just doing the motions, it's not bringing you any satisfaction, you know.
Yeah, you can maintain you can maintain a level, or you can keep progressing, and it's the progression that I myself need to stay excited.
You need that butterfly feeling.
There you go.
Like,
yes.
That's what keeps the hunger
the
going.
serious man face. Yeah, you need the serious man face once in a while.
That's key for me for sure, because it's like, if I just going out, I'll be over it. I won't touch my bike for like 2 weeks.
It happens.
I'll come out, but yeah, for sure, that's a key motivating factor. Is definitely scaring yourself a little bit.
Yep.
Keep progressing, keep pushing, do a no footer, just something. Just change it up.
And the older we get, the harder it is to get the drive back. When you fall off for a couple weeks, when you're younger, it's so easy to get back into the swing. At our age, at my age, man, it takes time to get back into the swing. So the less time you can take off, and the more long-term dedicated you are, the better off you are, because it's so much harder to get back up to ground floor the older I get.
Especially as you become an adult. Obviously, adulting happens.
So many other things going on. Thinking about high school and the lack of responsibilities and all the time, dude. Oh my gosh, there was no long-term vision, no sense of time. Oh my gosh, and every day now is just filled with chores, tasks, work, job, drama. It's just crazy. And being able to find the time to ride now, it's beautiful. And making the most of it is another thing, you know. I try my best to ride. When I'm out riding, I'm not sitting texting, I'm not smoking, you know, like I'm riding, I'm sweating, I'm learning new tricks. And this is another thing. A lot of people give skate parks a bad rap. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not a skate park rider."
Oh, no. You need that. Sometimes.
The older I get, man, the more I love skate parks.
Yeah.
You go there, it's a different experience in street riding, obviously, but going to the skate park, sweating, pedaling, learning new tricks, falling, it's like a practice, I guess you could say, for street riding. Sure. But street riding, I'd say, is less taxing. Being at a skate park, you can focus on one thing. Burn your calories, get focused, stay in the zone. I feel so much more accomplished, relaxed after a skate park
it's
session.
For sure a more controlled environment, right?
Yeah, it helps.
Say, for example, if you wanted to ride this, that setup over there, forget it.
You got park people running around screaming.
Yeah, we got the lady walking around doing her daily workout, yelling.
Park ranger, yeah, man, it's
cops, park rangers, people, kids.
Hard to get in the zone and stay there. At a skate park, you get a flat ledge, a flat rail, a quarter pipe to yourself, and man, for a half hour, you can just put your headphones on and just sweat and learn and sweat and learn. It's a beautiful thing, and I really, the older I get, the more I love a good skate park session.
Yeah, it's definitely, me too, at this point, it's definitely well needed. 2 or 3 times a week, mandatory.
Yep.
Well, I try to do twice a week. If the market's great, I'm going 5 days a week, but for sure twice a week at least. I go to the plaza and I go to Mullally Park. I gotta maintain somewhat, and then I'm always down to go out and ride streets. It's not like I'm against it in any way.
No, not at all. It's an adventure, man.
It's just like I don't want to deal with riding a ledge in front of this guy's house and he's gonna come out. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the skate park's always easier just to get the riding in. And then when it's time to actually go out and ride,
you're ready for it. Then you put in the leg work and you've got your seat leg, or you got your riding legs, and you're more ready to go and film a clip. Too often, when I was younger, I'd try to get a clip learning the trick on the spot. You know, I put my filmers through hell sometimes. It's embarrassing to think about, but I'd struggle. What I got to do is learn the trick first,
and then apply
get good at it, and then bring it to the street and get the quick clip like that.
A lot of people, that's how they function, because it's maybe a thing that they've been wanting to try. Or I just want to do it. You know, if I do it, I do it. If not, like, they're not gonna go and
I
get it 10 times straight. You know, crook 180 bar. You know. I think I can crook. I can 180. I can probably bar out and try it. All right. If it works, it works.
Yeah. Sometimes it just works. Other times it's a fucking struggle. Another thing I have to deal with getting older is knowing when it's not my day. When I'm starting to lose energy or focus trying to get a clip, I just need to learn to, all right, hopefully this spot will still be here next week. Today's not my day. I'm done for now.
Learn when to cut your losses, right?
Yeah, you know exactly. You got to know when to just walk away.
From the filming, so the last few projects have been filming and editing, and then before that, as you mentioned, you went into photography.
Oh yeah.
And did the photography come through bike riding, or was that something you were already into, and the bike riding kind of meshed with that?
So the photography, I picked up photography through a friend of mine, Pat McCourt. Shout out Pat McCourt. He knows how much of an important figure he was in my life. He's an inspiration in athletics. He's an inspiration in friendship. He's an inspiration in family life. I was so jealous of what he had. Like, he had a nice coherent family, you know. His parents were still together. He was very athletic. He played soccer. He excelled. He was funny. He was quick-witted. I really like Pat McCourt, but the way I showed it is competition. You know, like I always perceived him as, like, I always like competed like as if he was a threat of some sort, you know, like when I started my clothing company, he started his own clothing company. When I learned a new trick, he learned that trick, and we'd see each other out and be like, yo, you got this? I got that.
Yeah, keeping up.
So one day I saw him with an SLR camera, you know, a long zoom lens. I was like, oh, word, like, you're a photographer now?
Yeah, Mr. Sports Illustrated. All right, I got you.
Like, all right, so it's on. So I went and I got a camera. I borrowed a camera from my boy Phil's dad. Shout out Phil Cranley. Shout out Mark Cranley. And I started shooting some color negative film, and I really got turned on to photography after my first long exposure. I was up on my boy Chase's porch. Shout out Chase Nickel. I was up on his porch looking down at this busy street in our town, and I did like a 2 or 3 second exposure.
Yeah.
And when I got that film back, you saw the streaks of the light.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So I started exploring more night photography, just doing long exposures around my town, just having fun, exploring, you know. And then I never thought I'd get into action photography. You know, I mean, I had a subscription to Ride BMX since 01, maybe 02, you know, like, and the years I'm talking right now was like 02, 03, you know, when I started getting more serious about photography. And I always told myself I wouldn't get as serious as having the remote flashes, you know, the transmitter and receiver.
Speed lights. And
exactly.
whatever,
I was like, you know what? Like, I like photography. I have an on-camera flash, but I don't think I'll ever want to get an off-camera flash and set up radio slaves and all that shit. But soon enough, man, there I was buying pocket wizards, putting a flash over here, metering, you know, and then it was 2003, the end of 2003, when Ride BMX was operating as Transworld BMX.
Yeah, they started that little
for a couple years
thing.
And they had a reader photo contest. And I had shot a photo of my boy Chad Moore. Shout out Chad Moore, big shout out Chad Moore, doing a downside tail whip at Woodward. It was the summer of 03 I shot it, and I had a Canon A2 SLR. I had maybe it was a 50 millimeter prime lens, like a pretty bare bones setup. I had a Vivitar 285 flash on a small tripod, one pocket wizard. I don't think I even metered it. I shot at 1/125th when I could have been shooting at 250th. Like, technically speaking, I could have gotten it sharper, but for whatever reason,
it was sunny out, right? Daylight.
It was sunset, but there was still ambient light, and I could have gotten it sharper. But for some reason, I don't know. Like, I was still learning, obviously, you know. And there's a little bit of motion blur, but he's doing this clean downside tail whip. Chad Moore had the cleanest downside tail whips ever, and I love the photo. And from the moment I saw it, I thought, like, yo, this is the greatest thing I've ever shot so far, you know?
Yeah, best work.
And I sent that in. I probably sent in maybe 8 slides to that reader photo contest, and all things thankful for it won first place. And I was so honored. I was elated, and it was at the craziest moment of my adolescent life where, like, I was going through a lot of drama and bullshit in other things, and then boom, I get a call from Chad himself. He says, yo, congrats, dude. I said, what do you mean congrats?
Oh, he broke the news to you.
Yeah. I didn't even get my copy of the magazine yet. He's like, yo, congrats, you won that contest with my photo. I said, dude, no fucking way. And for that, I won a complete Mosh bike. They gave me like it was when Mosh was like in the scene still.
When Aiken was on Mosh?
When Aiken, Rich Hirsch was in there, Ardeline, you know. They had a really clean image, a lot of clean riders, and they sent me this Mosh brass 3-star complete bike, something like that. And I got the full page print in the December 2003 issue, and dude, I was just like, yo, like this is sick, awesome. And I brought the issue, and I was showing everyone, showing my teachers. My school did like this fucking showcase for me in a hallway, like
local student.
Exactly, yeah. And then from there, I was just like, yo, like I'm gonna go with this, you know. And my parents were super supportive. My grandma like paid for like a lot of my film developing. She's like, she knew that like I was hyped on it, and photography has applications way beyond just BMX. You know, way beyond also. For real, like
supporting the
craft, and she was so cool about it. Like, and I was still getting in trouble. I still had a little bit of my middle school mischief in me, but like she knew that like if I stuck with photography and she kept supporting it, she knew. Yeah, exactly. And sure enough, man, like from that Transworld photo contest, there was just some local, it was called the National Interstate Insurance Company, and they were doing an open call around the whole, I think it was just Northeast Ohio or Northern Ohio. They were reaching out to all the art programs, and my photography teacher, shout out Dawn Meyer, Dawn Sarazin is her name now, she forced me to enter this contest.
She like sent your print. That
was
in the magazine.
It was mixed media. It wasn't just photography. It was illustration, drawing, and she had all of her students. She's like, hey, like you can win $500 here, you know. And I was just like, man, whatever. Like, I want to go ride. She's like, Scott, you should do this. You need to enter. I was like, all right, whatever. So I have no problem saying this now. I was on house arrest at the time.
Oh, man.
I was a sophomore or junior in high school, and I had really messed up this one time, and I was on house arrest. And so my mom went out to Kmart and bought this little play school replica of a school bus, and it came with these little figurines. One was in a wheelchair and one was standing fully abled. And I put it way down the street on my street. I legally wasn't even allowed to be on my street.
Can't leave the house.
But I was there in the street.
Ankle monitor?
No.
Okay, not that bad, right?
It was what do they call it? Home supervised home arrest. It was something where a lady would come and check in on
like
me,
random, like,
drug test me, check in with my school to make sure I was there all the time. You know. But I was on my street. I had my 7200 millimeter zoom lens. This was right when I was learning like perspective and zoom lenses, and I was zoomed all the way into 200 millimeters.
At this point, you were digital, right?
No. Still film. I was shooting Provia 100F slide film because that's what Jeff Zielinski shot. Big shout out Jeff Z, obviously. Again, another tip: if you're shooting film for the first time, shoot color negative. It's got a much more forgiving exposure latitude. With slide film, you got to be exact, or else you get a shit image.
Yeah, push it to stop, right?
Yeah, you know. So I'm down on the ground shooting 200 millimeter. I'm zoomed all the way in on this little play school replica of a bus, and using the power of perspective and zoom, I made the bus look like it was full size relative to the street behind it.
Yeah.
And that's the image I gave to my art teacher. Like, here, this was easy to shoot. Whatever, send it in. A couple weeks later, yo, Scott,
first place.
Here's $500. I was like, what, dude? Like, and they even put it on on their calendar. Like, it was like the print of their calendar. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. You know.
Yeah, that's like the final push you
yes,
needed.
and I used that $500 to buy another flash and more pocket wizards, and from then on I was the photographer.
That's it, full in, right?
Yep, and it definitely took a toll. It took away from my riding time. That's the point where I was less of a rider, and because we all wanted to be professional riders when we first started.
At some point I can do this. I can fucking.
At that exact point, I said, nah, I'll stay behind the camera. I'll still hopefully get the freedom, the luxury of going out riding, you know, like I could do my thing and still be in the scene, still have the good times, but this is where I would excel. I was an okay rider. I was accident prone. I was always riding outside of my skill level.
Yeah, I think everybody, for a little bit, you watch a video, before you go riding, you're gonna get shit, I'm gonna go bomb this fucking rail.
Yeah, you know, it's always good to push your boundaries, but you got to pay the price sometimes, and I was paying the price a lot, and so to me it felt like the safer alternative, and I ended up applying for scholarships for college. This was right around senior year of high school, and I was lucky or skilled or talented enough to get really good scholarships. I won another art show. I came to New York City on a nearly full ride scholarship to the School of Visual Arts.
SVA,
one of the premier art schools in the country, and they're known for their photography program. And I got in there and I took full advantage of every resource they had, all the equipment, the labs, the scanners, the chemicals, everything. I was in there I would get in trouble for staying in the darkroom too long.
You were developing your own film.
And I was doing that in high school too, but it was next level at SVA, and I was so hyped to be in there just doing things. Like, a lot of the kids I went to school with, they would come to class, they would get their assignment done, and they'd leave and they'd go do whatever they were doing.
Yeah, they're like, that's
Man,
it, I'm done.
I was like, yo, like, I was taking out new equipment, I was trying the new scanner. They was free ink. You buy your paper, you come in, they had every size printer, man. I was off to the races.
Was that Albion time, the Albion magazine?
No, Albion was later on after I graduated.
I can't even remember at this point.
I was still freelance. This was 2005 when I moved to New York.
Okay.
And then I graduated 2009, and I was doing just a lot of freelance work. I did the first big thing I did in New York was the interview with Steve-O for Dig.
I think
that came out in 2006.
The one picture he had under the FDR, the gap to Smith from the tall.
The Veterans Plaza.
That was
past the planter. Wait, okay.
All right, so under the FDR, they have those little slant ledge things right by the water, and I think the picture is there's a footing for the column for the highway. It's like a big concrete thing.
Yeah.
And he gapped from that to like a beveled
I
ledge.
didn't shoot that.
No?
No, but I know the spot you're talking about because my school was right there, like 21st and FDR. Right?
Yeah,
yeah,
FDR,
those slant ledges are sick.
In the parking lot.
The bevel ones.
Fuck, man. Allergies.
Yeah.
Killing me. So, before I almost choked to death on some pollen, you were mentioning 20 BMX, right?
Yeah, 20 is I'm almost 99% sure that 20 BMX was the name of the magazine, and that Keith Mulligan, who was at Trans World Ride BMX, and Justin Cosman, who is also a great photographer, video maker, had started a magazine, short-lived, I want to say 9 issues or less. They sent me to Woodward to shoot with Zach Warden. This was the summer of '05, right before I moved out here. And it was the first time I actually got sent to a different state on location to shoot with a rider, a specific assignment, all paid for, per diem. Like, I felt professional.
Yeah. Like a milestone, right?
Definitely a milestone, and it definitely felt great to be relied on like that, and to be respected enough to have an assignment from a magazine. You know, like, yeah, it was definitely like a big point in my career and my life. And then once I moved out here to New York, I linked up with Steve-O, who we had corresponded on BMX board online, and yeah.
BMX board. I think that's still around too.
I think it is. Yeah, I haven't been there in years, but I think it's still there. And Steve-O introduced me to a lot of people who I'd later become good friends with, which was awesome. But we shot an interview for Dig. I didn't do the text. I wasn't writing much at the time yet, because writing became sort of a bigger part of my life later on. But I was only shooting still at this time. And then through my college career, it was a lot of selling photos to rides, selling photos to companies for advertisements, getting some, like, a lot of clothing photography work. A lot of my friends and people I went to school with, they had like clothing brands.
Okay.
There was Reason brand. Reason, they came up big when they did the Go Heart Your Own City shirts.
Oh yeah, that was them. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just figured, I didn't know it was actual, like, real company. Just
Yeah.
somebody, like,
Well,
all right,
yeah,
that's
they made it first, and then they became sort of generic.
Yeah.
And then more recently, they did the Homies, the Hermes ripoff with, like, it says Homies, and then there's like some dudes like hanging out. You'd recognize it if you saw
the little character.
Yes,
the little
exactly.
Fucking, sketches or whatever they are. The
Yep. And so I didn't know it was a ripoff of some boutique brand Hermes, Hermes or whatever.
Hermes.
Yeah.
Right.
So Reason, yeah, I got with them because one of the co-creators, John Totaro, he was in my literally the first class of my first year at SVA. It was a black and white photography darkroom class, and he was in there. And after the first few weeks, like, we were showing our work, and he was showing some skateboarding stuff, some dudes hanging out, drinking 40s on a pier or whatever, you know, and we just started talking like, yo, yeah, you're into cool stuff. I like what you're doing. Like, what is this? Oh, me and my dudes are starting this clothing company, this brand called Reason. All right, cool. And then he stopped showing up to school so much. And then, like, maybe half a year later, like, after I'd totally forgotten about him, he hit me up out of the blue like, hey man, we got some new stuff in, can you help us shoot it? All right, so I came in, I just shot like some flat lay clothing on the ground, simple lighting, just stuff they could put in their catalog.
Was that like studio stuff, or you went out?
Like, I think
staged the shots like on a
no,
bench
it's
or
the
something?
first thing I did for them was just flat lay. I think we just took studio space in the school, or maybe they were working near St. Mark's, and maybe we shot it in their building, but it was just on the ground, white seamless, 2 lights facing down. And then my big break with them was their 07-08 winter collection lookbook, which I really, really took seriously. I hired an assistant. Well, rather, I had my friend Ryan Bailey assist me on it, and we had all this equipment, and there were 2 or 3 models we were working with that day, and it was a full ass day of shooting, and it was my first time being like director, first photographer, not so much creative director. Obviously, Phil Basis and John Tatar, the creators of the company, they were there, sort of like setting things up. Yeah, but like
staging it a little bit.
Like the first shot of the day. One of the first shots of the day was this scene. So the storyline of the lookbook was this kid and his girlfriend had the house to themselves for the weekend, and they were still young kids, and like he was trying to impress the girl by making her breakfast. And the shot was he had made all these different breakfast foods. There was like burnt toast, the orange juice was overflowing, there were eggs everywhere. It was a mess, but they were wearing these clean clothes. You know, they were showing off the clothes, and it was really cool to like shoot sort of a narrative story like that, you know, and throughout the whole lookbook they were in these different situations. They were riding on a horse and carriage for one photo. They were ice skating, they were playing chess in front of a fireplace. Like, it was the first big one-day shoot that I was part of, and that was also really exciting. Part of my payment was this jacket that they made, and I still wear the jacket. It's literally like in pieces now at this point. My girlfriend said I shouldn't wear it anymore because I look homeless, but
the quality's not the best.
But
right?
I love the jacket. Like, it's just like if I could maybe get it sewn up a little bit, it could be back to wearable. But man, it's tattered right now.
Is it more of a sentimental thing?
Very sentimental, man. It always brings me right back to that day, and the sense of accomplishment to see. Like, it was they made this lookbook into a physical book, and like, man, they had hundreds of copies. It's like, yo, I shot all of these photos. It was really cool. It was really cool. And then I did a lot of work for Anything, a New York thing. This was more after college. I'd say it started more around 2010, 2011, 2012.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of their catalog photography, and I think I did some stuff for some smaller brands, but Reason and Anything were the bigger brands I was working for outside of BMX.
Okay. What? So then after that shoot with Reason and that, then came along. So you were doing some stuff for Dig for a little bit too?
Well, no, I did that one article for them, and then it was mostly Ride. Was
that when they were still physical magazine?
Oh yeah.
Dig, yeah.
Yeah, Dig. I mean, Dig's still printing, just not a public, like a monthly publication. No. That Steve article came out in 06, maybe 07. And then from then, it was the only stuff I had in Dig was either an advertisement for a company. Like, I was shooting a lot for Profile. I'm good friends with a lot of those guys. Shout out Matt Copeland. I shot a photo for Stolen that was in Dig, I believe. Little things here and there, but there was never editorial for Dig. One issue I had like maybe 2 or 3 photos in. There was one of Seabass doing a lawnmower foo-fa-noo on Ben Hiddle's ramp. I actually shot that on a trip with Steve-O. We were working on his interview. Oh, maybe that was what it was. I sent in all the photos from that trip. It was for a Nation BMX trip.
Okay.
And that photo of the Seabass lawnmower foo-fa-noo was on that same trip, and it was in the same issue. But I was mostly sending my stuff to Jeff Z at Ride, because he was super helpful in like critiquing the stuff I'd send in, giving me helpful tips. He just helped me along the way a lot, and so I was more loyal to Ride, but I didn't have anything against Dig. I felt like it was easier for me to get stuff into Ride, so I would mostly send to them.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, if you know it has a better chance of getting published, you're going to send it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, would that be a good, well, obviously times have changed now. There's not a lot of print magazines. Kids that want to get into stuff published, or I can't even really word that question right, because everything is mostly online now, right? You see a feature or like a magazine or a spread will be something you see online.
Yeah.
You just scroll over a couple and it'll be a couple pages long or something. Times definitely changed, but if someone were to want to pursue that in a more professional, get paid for it, what would your recommendation be?
Oh man, well, there's always advertising. There's always companies who make a product who want it to look good in a digital image. You know what I mean? Like, someone makes a product and they want to advertise it even just on Amazon. They want to promote it on Instagram. They want to put it on Facebook Marketplace. They're going to need a clean photo, at least one clean photo of their product. So there's always product photography that can get you paid.
Okay.
That's something very important to keep in mind. Even if editorial isn't around, even if like BMX, getting a BMX photo printed in a magazine is nearly unheard of. There's a few smaller zines that are being printed. Dig still does an annual book, but it's fewer and far between. But there's always money to be made in photography. Fashion companies, like whatever the fashion world does, they're always going to be making big ass magazines. There's always going to be magazines printed, but it just depends on if you're shooting the kinds of things that they want, and so always keep a longer timeline view in mind. Even when you're shooting BMX stuff, be shooting around, getting more used to shooting like you shoot a riding photo of your buddy, shoot a nice portrait of him after, a nice environmental portrait of him at the spot, and that's something that a potential publisher will look at and say, hey, besides shooting this clean action photo, he can actually shoot an interesting and storytelling environmental portrait. You want to be able to
some lifestyle stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Not just the action photo. There's so much more that goes into it. Yeah.
Going the way of the dinosaur with the magazine, also DVDs. Do you have an opinion or a feeling on that, on where it's heading? You feel it's going to be more online going forward?
Well,
is there a place for DVDs, do you think?
Well, if you're asking me if there's a place for a plastic disc in a paper sleeve, it's more of a keepsake. It's more of like a collector's item, something that you put on your shelf or hang on the wall. You put it, dude, there's so many people that don't even have a DVD player anymore.
That's true.
So in making a DVD, it was never my main intention to have and hold a DVD to sell or to hand out or whatever. It's just having a full-length video to be done, and the way people choose to watch it is up to them. I'd rather them not watch it on a phone, obviously. On such a small monitor, there's a lot of nuances and technical aspects they won't pick up on, that won't be as appreciated. But as long as it's watched on a TV, be it from a disc, from a link, from a YouTube video, I don't have any strong convictions either way. I'm not going to fight the internet. I'm not going to fight against the web video. Those are real things that are here to stay. But the fact that I found a group of people who were willing to sit on their footage for 4+ years while everything around us progressed. We were lucky to not have more clips taken out by web videos and by even Instagram posts. There's some clips in the video that are 5+ years old that haven't got one-upped yet, and that's a freaking miracle.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Yeah, so we're lucky for that. But as far as so for a DVD, DVDs are ancient at this point. Like I said, a lot of people don't even have a DVD player, and it's more for me. It's more of a battle between a full-length, long-term project and a web video, and then on the far end of that spectrum, an Instagram post.
Yeah.
And they all have their merits, they all have their place, and I'm guilty of favoring one over the other all the time. Now that I finished Angles, I don't think I'll ever do another full-length video project.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. Now that this is finished, what do you see down the line? More smaller scale projects, like one person parts, one person section? Well, I couldn't say a part, because a part, this guy's part is a part of a whole.
The word part being
part of something. As opposed to a section. So now, do you see yourself working on individual sections going forward? If any at all.
I am actually dedicating my time to photography again.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of product photography. I'm shooting some action, but I'm back into still photography, and video for me is more of an afterthought at this point, and now into the foreseeable future, it'll be still imagery and photography for me. But if I am asked to do a video project, I'm not going to work on it for more than a year. You know what I mean? Like it was,
quick hit, yeah.
It was, I loved it and I hated it and I was ambivalent and I was whatever about it. But I do not want to work on a multi-year video project ever again at this point. You know what I mean?
On all aspects of your life, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yep, that.
It's a big, it can be a burden.
Yeah, yep. So quicker projects. I have a lot of books and zine ideas that I've been sitting on, putting off because of Angles for a while. So there's a group zine that I've been sitting on for a while. I'm sorry to everyone who submitted work to that, but I haven't forgot about it. It's just been on the back burner. And then I have a solo book for myself that I've been wanting to get out for a number of years. But I'm going to be more image based, more photography based, and I'll be printing little zines and books for the next couple years probably.
All right, that's another thing to look forward to, everybody out there. Now that Angles is wrapped up, what if anything would be your typical schedule, your typical life activities?
Well, I guess at some point I'll have to announce it publicly, but I am working for Sunday Odyssey as photographer, and I haven't made any public announcement of it. They have been posting a lot of my work and alluding to the fact that I'm out with the crew a bunch, but I did get offered a position with Sunday Odyssey / G Sport Fairdale at Full Factory, and I'm now their photographer. I shoot the action photos, I shoot the website photos, I shoot the catalog photos.
So you just photo, you're
just
not gonna
photo.
Like, film. You're not gonna set up a tripod like that.
No,
one guy.
They have Kramus. They have Kramus, who's a master
guy,
of his craft, and he needs little to no help doing what he does. Not to say I don't help out when he needs it, but they have him for video, and now they have me for photo, and so that's why I say most of my time will be dedicated to photography now.
Yeah, still image, yeah.
Yeah.
Or photography, yeah.
Yep.
What are your, outside of writing, what do you like to do? What hobbies pique your interest?
Outside of writing, I like to listen to music. I love music. I'm inspired by music.
Good
Motivated.
song choice, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. Good part in the video. Excellent song choice.
Thank you. Yeah, that song. As soon as I heard it, the lyrics ring so true.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's poppy. It's surf rock. It fits so well. Almost immediately there was no hesitation. Like, yo, this is a song I am using. And once people hear it, they'll understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But you got to listen to the lyrics, and it makes a lot of sense. But outside of riding, I love bicycles in general. I have 2 other bikes besides my BMX bike. I have a single speed bike.
Okay.
My 18-speed road bike is actually out of commission right now, but I'm actively looking to get a new one. But I love going on long bike rides.
E-tap or no? On the road
E-tap?
bike, yeah.
What is that?
Electronic shifting?
Oh no.
Oh no, you're not that serious.
No.
Okay,
My 18-speed is an old 80s steel frame Moto Beacon.
Oh, so it's just to get around, like long rides.
Yeah,
touring rides.
Yeah. I got pretty serious about road biking and longer rides when I moved to Los Angeles. I did 2 century rides, 100-mile rides, kind of back to back in quick succession, and I wanted to make it a thing. Maybe this was in 2016 when I sort of fell off the BMX wagon, but yeah. I stay true to cycling. I love bicycles.
Yeah, because it works out for a lot of people. The BMX leads them into the next, like, another facet of bicycle riding, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be a fixed geared bike,
Yep.
A track bike on a
Yep.
velodrome, or a road bike,
Yep.
like going long distance, mountain bikes now.
Oh, mountain, yep, down a lot
downhill.
of people on downhill and mountain bike, all that freestyle stuff. But yeah, I mean, the older I get, the more I realize that a nice long road bike ride it can be a bonding experience. It can be a business experience. Like instead of 2 business partners going out to play a round of golf, you go on a long bike ride.
Yeah.
You know, you get your physical exertion, you burn your calories, you talk and exchange ideas, and it's just great to get out and see shit. You know, like I'm blessed enough to have a beach about 14 miles from where I live, and riding out to the beach and back, that's a full morning, and it's so gratifying to get to the beach, hop in the water real quick, and then ride right back home. I just love bicycles, and I know that as long as I'm able to, I'll be pedaling, you know, and I probably won't be hopping anymore. I won't be grinding much in my 50s. I can almost guarantee we'll see, but
just still out,
just getting out and pedaling,
active.
You know, just getting out and pedaling. I like I jump rope a lot, just to stay fit. Like for the past couple months, as I was finishing up AANGLES and like putting in long hours, sacrificing my Saturdays to just sitting at my computer and dialing it in, I'd have to get out and at least burn some calories. Mm-hmm. So the quickest calories I can burn is jumping rope. I recommend it to anyone that's
like 5 minutes hitting it hard.
5 minutes straight.
Like,
yeah, you're good. 10 minutes, as much as you can do. It's nearly impossible to go 10 minutes straight in a straight cadence, hopping consistently.
You got to be really in shape.
Yeah,
semi decent shape to keep up.
Yeah, and you'll be dripping sweat after 10 minutes, and you don't need any space. You don't even all you need is like, I'll go out in the driveway of my building and just jump rope for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe jog a little bit, but my feet are kind of bad, and I've been told that running isn't the greatest activity for me.
Yeah.
So jumping rope, I highly recommend, not just for physical activity, but for mental health. It gets your dopamine flowing, it gets serotonin going. You just feel better. You get the runner's high, the colloquial runner's high, just from any strenuous activity, and jumping rope is as strenuous as it gets. So I highly recommend jumping rope to anyone. I'm interested in the stock market. For a while I was doing some day trading. Mm-hmm. I follow the market very closely. I read the headlines nearly every morning. I watch the big movers. I'm interested in socio-political activities. I try not to become too involved or emotionally attached to what's going on.
Oh yeah, emotions run. You make bad decisions based on emotion.
Yes.
Or it can lead to bad decisions.
That's it. Actually, it can pour over into riding, but when you make an emotional decision, it tends to be impulsive and not informative. You need to have a plan in trading. So we can talk about.
We can do a little, not a deep dive, a little shallow dive.
Yeah, a little tangent here on the emotions of trading stocks. You want to have a good exit plan before you even enter a trade, and this could be a metaphor for life, really. You want to know your end goal before you start making moves. You know, like, I'm gonna buy this stock and I'm gonna get out once I'm at this % gain. I'm gonna get out on this date. I'm gonna get out when this news drops. I'm gonna bail if it goes under this amount. I'm gonna take my money and run if it breaks even at this. You know, you want to know what your end goal is, so that you can have a good plan. If you go in without a goal, you're more susceptible to panic selling, and you're more susceptible to buying into the fear of missing out or hype. You know, it's really good to have a plan, and more so than anywhere in life, in trading stocks. If you fail to plan, then you should plan to fail.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
we gotta do the disclaimer, right? We're not any financial advisors.
Well,
it's just for entertainment.
I'm not gonna make any big claims. All I can say is that I do believe in cryptocurrency, and I hold a good amount of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Stellar Lumens, and Chainlink, and Dogecoin. Fuck it. I'm not telling anyone to go out and buy this, but those are some of my long-term holds. There's some stocks I have if anyone wants to get in touch. Jerry does more day trading than I do, so if you put out like a daily watch list or something.
It's a secret, but I've been basically anybody that likes riding bikes and you appreciate your free time, do a little research, and the stock market is a good way to sustain a nice lifestyle, a decent lifestyle. You don't have to want to go buy a Lamborghini.
You got to start small. You got to start with small goals, but the beauty of trading stocks is that you can be done with your work for the day within the first half hour that the stock market's open. With the pre-market activity, and the first burst of volume in the morning, you could leave the door. Okay, so the hardest part about living in Los Angeles and wanting to trade stocks is the market opens at 6:30 a.m. out there. Yeah, 9:30 on the East Coast. On Wall Street, it's 9:30, which is a reasonable amount of time to wake up, do your morning activities, study, look at charts, and make an informed decision to buy and sell. In Los Angeles, I had to wake up at 5:30 to start making picks. And it's just not as ideal, but people do it, people get it done. I'm doing a lot less of it these days. If I were living out east again, I'd be doing it every day still, but it just doesn't, my schedule hasn't been lining up. But yes, if you like numbers, if you like looking at charts, if you're, there's a lot of different ways to trade, but it's a numbers thing, it's a visual chart thing, but I'm fascinated by it. I'm excited by it, which is actually like a sort of like a sign to like pump the brakes a bit. One of the most veteran traders I ever talked to said that investing shouldn't be exciting, because that's when you're more susceptible to trading on emotions. One veteran trader once said it shouldn't be exciting. If you want excitement, take $700 to Vegas. Don't try to find your excitement in the stock market, because if you get too emotional, you're gonna lose money quick. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. There's so many different ways to make money in the market, but all you really got to know is you're doing very little physical work, almost literally sitting at a computer and hitting a couple buttons and making big amounts of money if you play your cards right. But I'm very interested and fascinated and enamored by the stock market.
Now that's all basically self-taught, or?
Yes, I never took a single class. I use all the free resources online. Investopedia.com was one I spent days reading on. YouTube videos, Instagram accounts that give out tips and tricks. They point out different candles, chart patterns, they watch lists, all that. And the more time you spend focused on a subject, the more you'll learn about it, right? Like, sure. I could spend hours writing, I could spend hours editing, but if I'm not completely focused on what I'm doing, then it's going to be harder to learn. And so when I watch a chart, when I read the news, if I'm not completely focused on the numbers that you're supposed to be looking at, you're not really going to learn much.
Yeah, that is true.
I learned the most about trading and the way I trade when I lost a big amount of money. The first time I ever lost a lot of money, I was almost like hungry for revenge at the market. I'm not letting this happen again. I'm going to learn so much more. I'm going to study so much better, and I'm not going to let this happen again. And really, that's what sparked like my upward trajectory in the market. Is losing a lot of money, getting mad at myself for being so emotional and so reluctant to sell, to cut my losses. You want to keep your losses small. The name of the game when you first start trading is risk management.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can't be said any better. Don't even try to make profits. Just try to keep your losses to a minimum.
Yeah. Just learn how the process works. You're gonna lose. It's the same thing. You're gonna lose more than you win, which is good. But if you lose a little bit each time and you win more, then well, my words are all jumbled up, but basically, you want to just keep the losses low.
Yep.
Because you're gonna lose. It's inevitable.
Keep the losses low and let the winners run, and don't get greedy. A couple of my bad trades at the beginning were holding too long, hoping I'd see more and more gains, but don't get greedy. Unless your plan is to hold long term. There's a few stocks that I've held through. I was 20% down, I was 30% down, but my goal, my plan for the stock was to hold for a number of months, and so I watched through the volatility, and sure enough, I came out with 2-3x gains. And so it's good to know, like for Bitcoin, this is the last thing I'll say about Bitcoin, is my goal, my trading investment strategy for Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies is to hold until at least the year 2050. And so all these short-term fluctuations mean nothing to me. Exactly. I'm buying as much as I can afford to have right now. And until the year 2050, I'm not even thinking about selling. Yeah. So that takes a lot of weight off my shoulders. Whereas in day trading, you're trying to get in and out as quickly as possible. And you got to, again, you need the right tools for that job. If you don't have the right software, if you don't have the right resources, you're gonna have a harder time making that money.
And that's day trading, because like you said, there's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
swing
strategies.
trade, options, it's all. So, everybody just do your research.
Yeah.
Study, and don't be emotional.
Yeah. See, I'm a very emotional person. I have no problem admitting that. I'm extremely volatile sometimes. The older I get, the better I am at controlling and understanding my own emotions. But I wear my heart on my sleeve, as they say. You can see. My friends know when I'm in a bad mood. I'm visibly in a bad mood. My friends know when I'm excited, I'm loud, and I'm active. And I'm doing my best to keep everything sort of even. Just to keep myself in check at all times, to keep a reserve of happiness for the downtime, and to keep a good perspective on how the ebb and flow of human emotion goes. So it's definitely a learning process. I don't think I'll ever attain some sort of enlightenment, but keeping an even head as the roller coaster of life goes on is definitely a lesson I try to keep in the forefront of my thoughts.
Good words. I'm not gonna say words to live by, but a good statement, everybody. Out there.
A great, as long as we're talking about great statements, in the stock market, I have a lot of friends who say, "Oh man, if I would have bought this, oh, my friend told me about this way back in the day." This is what I say. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The second best time is right now.
Yeah.
And so anytime you feel like you've missed out on an opportunity, especially in the stock market, don't cry about it, don't grieve about it. Just buy now, and if it's the right choice, if you still are that convicted and you believe in it, it'll keep going up. There's a lot of plays. Tesla for me was the one. As soon as the COVID bottom hit, I was like, yo, this is my chance.
Yeah.
I see Teslas everywhere in California.
Yeah.
Everyone. You either drive a Prius, a Range Rover, or a Tesla, and that's how it is.
I was in Cali a while ago. I told at the time, I was like, everything, it's either a Tesla or a Range. That's basically all I saw.
Tesla, Range Rover, G-Wagon, Prius. And so as soon as I had that chance, I said, all right, I'm in, and instead of being pissed and grinding my teeth every time I saw a Tesla on the street, I missed that train. I could have been a fucking millionaire. And here it is, dude. Whatever COVID actually was, whatever it continues to be, the stock market was hugely affected, and the people who are ready for it are millionaires in the past year and a half, right off of that bottom. And I'm lucky enough to have gotten into Tesla at the very least, and I'm really happy with that investment. But like I said, the best time to buy Tesla would have been in 08, 09 when they went public, and they were struggling. They were a week away from bankruptcy, and now the best time to buy is when the market hits all-time lows.
You gotta wait.
Huge day of panic selling. Yeah, patience.
And speaking of COVID, how did that affect? Well, you took advantage by editing. Take a lot of time to edit the video, tweak things. How did that affect going out and actually trying to get footage and writing?
Oh man, so I love telling the story of Sean Moore and I. He and I would meet up on a Wednesday afternoon at any school we wanted to. Mm-hmm. Any school in Southern California. There was almost literally no one there.
Yeah, because that's unheard of.
Maybe a janitor, a custodian, maybe one teacher picking up papers or something. But the months immediately following the COVID lockdown restrictions, April, May, June, July 2020, Sean Moore and I would meet up Wednesdays usually, Tuesday, Thursday maybe, no one at any school. We'd hop in, we'd take hours, we'd hang out, we'd get clips, no one would hassle us. So in that sense, it became really easy to film, but then in another sense, it became more difficult to travel,
State to state, going.
It was just I was always unsure. I didn't do any big trips. I did one big trip to Atlanta. We flew at the end of 2020 in December when things were a little more under control, or so we thought. Now at this point, who knows? But I didn't do any big road trips, and it was more local stuff, which was cool because we spend more time exploring our immediate surroundings and riding some cuttier stuff, like stuff you didn't really consider a spot before, but now that you don't really have anywhere to go,
you gotta adapt a little more.
Adaptability is a huge quality, a very useful quality to involve yourself with, just to be able to have an open mind, to see things differently. You know, it's funny, everyone experiences when they revisit a town or a city that they've been to before, they grew up in, and you say, whoa, like this has been here my whole life, but I never thought about riding it that way, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool thing, a really cool perspective to have, is to come back with a fresh idea or a new trick that like wasn't around when you were a kid, and it's like, yo, like this is a great spot now.
You see a different like fresh eyes to the spot. You apply, obviously, as you progress in riding too, the spot, now I can do this, I can do this, I can do it opposite, I can, you know, it opens up the spot a little, unlocks the spot somewhat.
Yep, definitely. This all stemmed from what you asked me what I'd like to do outside of BMX, and honestly, at this point, it's riding bikes, listening to music, and watching the stock market. It almost sounds a little pathetic. I should probably pull out some more things, but man, I wake up and I look at what the charts are doing. I read some headlines. I go to work, which involves riding BMX and shooting photos. I ride as much as I can during the session.
Okay.
I've been getting more into food and food preparation, cooking meals. My girlfriend is an excellent cook. She's beautiful and lovely for all the things she does, but especially she keeps me eating good, healthy, organic, wholesome foods. I've been paying a lot more attention to my diet. The spirituality that comes along with eating wholesome.
You gotta stay alive to at least 2050. You gotta realize.
I need to, dude. It'd be a sad scenario if I died from poor health before I could cash out on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, she's better at keeping me in check day to day. Again, like I said, with my emotional volatility, she has a more even head and a longer timeline, a better outlook. Whereas when I was younger, I honestly, I was wild. When I moved to New York City, I went out of control. I went off the deep end with the party lifestyle.
Yeah. It's very easy to get caught up.
Yep. And coming from an Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, you know, it was just a huge culture shock. And I was in the prime of my party lifestyle coming out of high school, and man, the city just, I can honestly say it ate me up and swallowed me whole and spit me out in the gutter, you know. But I did my time, you know, in more ways than one. I did my time, and I came back sober-minded and with a fresh perspective. And I worked as a bike messenger for a year in the city while I was right after I'd quit drinking. And I can honestly say if I would have been drinking on the job, which was like a very popular thing to do as a bike messenger,
for sure.
I would have been dead. There were three moments where if I was not on top of my game, I would have been
cars,
boom,
traffic, intersections, and everything.
Oh my gosh! Like, and it's the craziest thing is that in two of those three experiences, I would laugh hysterically after coming so close to death. The first thing I did was laugh hysterically.
Holy
because
shit! Like I could have been
like
stain on the floor.
Like I got off my bike. I went to the closest seat or stoop, and I kind of just sat there, like my head in my hands, like holy shit, man! Like that was close. Yeah, and so I never thought I'd make it this far. It sounds pretty grim and stupid, but like I never thought I'd make it to age 30, and now that I'm here, I'm 34 years old. It's a blessing every day. You know, I'm not a religious guy. Like I said, I am spiritual in a way, but I attribute it all to karma. You know, I look out for the people that surround me. You know, my girlfriend, my close friends, my network, my coworkers. I make sure that they're doing good. I make sure that they're happy as much as I can help them be happy, to be healthy. I'm lucky enough to work with some of the top athletes in our scene. You know, I eat better, I stretch, I stay physically active. Like I said, the jumping rope, it goes way beyond physical activity. It goes more to mental health as well. I try not to involve myself with many vices. Like I said, I don't drink anymore. I partake. I won't get too in depth, but I would look out for my body and my mental and physical health, and I eat well. as well as I can. You know, I have dessert once in a while. You
Yeah,
know,
you
I've
gotta-
had a couple desserts on this trip. You
gotta
got to treat yourself.
Yeah.
You got to realize your gains, and once in a while, just live it up. You know, like don't be too hard on yourself. There's another thing I've learned in life is don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself a little room to be human. You know, we make mistakes, and the biggest thing, the greatest thing you can do with a mistake is turning it into a learning lesson. Make less mistakes, pay more attention. I think one of my next tattoos will be somewhere visible on my hand, just MLM PMA, make less mistakes, pay more attention. And the PMA, it comes from an old punk rock adage, positive mental attitude, and I'm sure more people know PMA for that, but it'll be a double entendre because everyone knows I'm a fan of those. Pay more attention. And so when you get yourself to pay more attention, you just, everything becomes more meaningful. And especially in our craft and what we do, if you pay more attention, it's easier to have a better outcome, you know?
Yeah, it's always going to be for the better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so with all that being said, any last words, any shout outs, thank yous, messages for anybody?
Well, thank you, Jerry, for having me here on this beautiful day. It's an honor. I love talking. I love imparting knowledge. I love sharing stories, and I invite anyone still listening after we've probably been here for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Anyone still listening, you can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram's my main. Instagram's, I think, my only social media platform. So hit me up if you got any questions, concerns, advice, critique, disses. I know that I got some haters out there. I love hearing that stuff.
You gotta love your haters, right?
Yep. Shout out everyone I shout out. I feel like I touched on a few of those, and then that's about it. Just karma's real. Be kind to yourself, and pay more attention and make less mistakes.
That's it.
Yep.
There you have it, everybody. The Scott Marceau active shooter working title episode. You guys have any feedback or whatever, leave it in the comment section below. Should I even say that, or I'm gonna be typing it anyway?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're signing off now, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.